I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, the cycle hums.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scum bucket.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, the cycle hums. Ready to make stays.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with the blood stain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And if you're stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all about the,
Happy days.
it's just one of those,
Happy days.
it's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, the cycle hums. Ready to make stays.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is to keep your distance. 'Cause right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
My day keeps going this way and this way.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I pack a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here
Not Robert.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome to the Mood of the Nation, episode 200. We did it, folks. We did it, finally. It's been a long time coming. The journey it has its ups and downs, a lot of stuff in the way, a lot of work that was involved in all of that. But hey, we did it. Episode 200. I think I'm with Mark in terms of his show, PWR, or Patriotic Weekly Review. I guess I'm now in the 200 episode club, which, to be honest with you folks, I really never expected this show to reach another milestone such as this. I mean, I actually never would have thought that Mood of the Nation would reach up to 100 episodes, but hey, we did it. So I kind of think to myself, since we got up to episode 200, I'm starting to, well, I may have said this when we did the 100 episode special, but since we're on to episode 200, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be doing this for a long, long time. So yes, I'm a little bit just all over the place at the moment, considering I was working today from 6 p.m. until 2 p.m. Oh, no, sorry, 6 in the morning, 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. You can tell that I'm actually a little bit tired and exhausted, but I've been putting this off for a long while, and I figured, you know what? It's been a while since I last did the episode, the show. I think the last one I did was maybe, I know it was episode 199, and I think that was maybe 4 weeks ago, I think it was. So maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm not entirely too sure, but I figured might as well just do the show just now. Looking a bit smart tonight, I have to say. Yes, indeed. It's actually the same suit I've worn at the PA conferences. This was actually the same suit I've worn for the 100th episode special. There was another plan I had in mind to do for episode 200, but I just never really got around to it. Maybe I can save the idea for another episode, like maybe episode 250 or something like that anyway. But yes, I am looking smart. I kind of figured that, again, because we've now hit another milestone for the show, I kind of figured that maybe I would dress for the occasion. So, but yeah, it's a bit of a while since I last worn this, but hey ho. Anyway, so. Oh, and also, I've also had added something to the suit. Well, it's not like added, but I don't know if you guys can actually. Hold on a minute. See if I can get close to the camera. I might as well just take it off here and put it back on. I'm not sure if you guys can maybe see this, and maybe the camera might get it. Hold on a minute. Maybe focusing up. God damn it. It's still a little bit blurry, but basically it's a Free Sam Melia political prisoner. This was given to folks within PA who were at the Leeds demonstration we did. And I think that was back in April? I think it was. It might have been April. Maybe I think it was at the start of maybe end of March, start of April, I think it was. But I was down there for that, considering what happened to Sam was awful. And I wanted to go down there with everyone from Patriotic Alternative to help support, not just support Sam, but to support the idea of free speech within the West. Well, more specifically here in the UK, because it's pretty much a full-blown Orwell state at this point in time. When's Joe Marsh coming on? So I do have guests lined up for the show. They're not here just yet. I'm going to send out the link in a moment or two for them just later on. What I will say with regards to Joe is that Joe, unfortunately, is not going to be one of those guests this time around for episode 200. The reason for it being is because he would love to come on, but he couldn't because he has other commitments going on just now. So again, it's a case of he would love to come on, but he can't because he's got other things going on just now. It's the same thing with Laura Towler. Again, she would love to be on, but she couldn't because again other commitments that were going on, which is a real shame because I was hoping to have them on the show when it comes to that. So I know I had Joe on plenty of times on the show before, but I think with Laura, I think the last time she was on the show was with Sam, and I think that was overall the 23rd episode, I think it was, which is quite a long while back ago. So yeah, I get, but even that said, hopefully I can get her, have her back on the show at some point. I know it may be a little bit hectic considering the birth of her and Sam's new baby, and again, what's happened to Sam. It's a little bit tricky at the moment, but again, it's understandable, and I do hope that she is doing well regardless of the circumstances when it comes to that. But yeah, anyways, let me have a quick look and see who's in the chat just now before I bring, or I say bring my guests on, but I still need to send out the link. So some familiar faces tonight. There will be some people who you least expect. In fact, I think some of them I asked them to come on the show a few times in the past, but I haven't really got around to because I've been busy with other things. Anyways, let me have a quick look and see. Inshallah, this is from Streaky Bacon. Inshallah, well done on 200. Thank you very much, Streaky. English Rose, hello, 200th episode. Thank you very much. Well done, Chief 200 and counting from Deb. Sim, thank you very much. Public Address News, thank you very much for being here. Sandra's Spicy Spanish Salami Sandwich, thank you very much for watching the show, especially that being the 200th episode. Joey A. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Jacob J, thank you very much for watching. Hey, Chief, been a while. Congrats. Thank you very much. Lester Boyle, well done on reaching 200. Thank you very much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Rory Herbert. Speaking of Rory Herbert, and of course, welcome, Rory. Thank you very much for watching the show. Before the show started, I think it was maybe like an hour before the show went live, around about just after, I think it was 4 o'clock, maybe just slightly after. Rory Herbert has kindly donated £5 to my PayPal account, which thank you very much, Rory. That's greatly appreciated for your kind generosity and your donations. Speaking of which, of course, if you would like to send a shekel or two to help support me and support the show, you can definitely do so via PayPal or buy me a coffee link. The links, of course, will be down in the description. In fact, I still haven't got my support notes. Wait a minute. 1 second, folks. And I think maybe it was a little bit of a bad idea to wear the suit because now I'm sweating my balls off. Apologies for the absolute crudeness of what I'm saying, but it's getting really toasty in here. I definitely shall say. Is that the link or is that a different one? Sorry, bear with me just now, folks. I'm gonna see if I can maybe. Actually, you know what? It's better if I actually do it on my phone. Wait a minute. That would be somewhat easier, but let me see if I can get that here. That's no worry. Oh wow, James Goddard has actually shared the stream. That's excellent. Thank you, James. I don't know if he's actually watching this, but thank you very much for sharing the stream. I greatly appreciate that. I'm just trying to see if I can find again. Bear with me just now, folks. Again, I'm just kind of all over the place because of work and all of that. Which, speaking of which, at this moment in time, I'm still working. It's getting a little bit quieter now ish, which means that I will definitely be coming back to do more episodes on. I think at this point in time, it's going to be one episode on a weekly basis. So episode 201 will be live next week. Oh, actually, no, wait a minute. Technically, it would be this Thursday coming. Yes, I'm still going to do the Thursday slot at 6 p.m. That's going to be for episode 201. That's going to be this Thursday coming, which will be, what date is that? Today is the 12th, and that's going to be Thursday the 16th. So I would say write that down in your calendars if you want. And yeah, you'll definitely see episode 201 on that day at 6 p.m. Let me see if I can find, again, apologies, folks. I'm going to try and see if I can get the link for my PayPal. Again, the links are in the description, but I think the best link for donation wise would be like PayPal. Again, that's entirely if you want to when it comes to that. And I'll post it in the chat and then strip it off, Chief Moody, and reveal your knickers. I am not going to do that. There's 1 second. Right. That's that one. Pin message. I'll do that. Perfect. Albion Forever. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. I've seen you in other PA related streams, Albion Forever, but I greatly appreciate you coming along here. Let me see here. Thank you, Albion Forever. Right. Peter Walker, Street Bacon mentioned you just now. I think that's me up to date with the chat just now in terms of who's here, which is really good to see. Again, thank you all very much for coming along. Right, so that's the PayPal link. Again, if you want to send in a shekel here or two, but again, support me or support the show, especially it being the 200th episode, you can, if you so do so. Now, I'm going to see if I can send out the links. And again, it's not going to be the case of like, oh, there's going to be specific times people will come on. I'm going to send out the links, and if they're ready to come on, then they could just jump on whenever they want to, basically. Because the type of stream tonight is not going to be. We'll possibly cover topics here and there, but it's mainly going to be a more of a chilled out, relaxed, a shoot the shit type of stream, kind of an idea to it. Again, because I think the main focus for today's episode of Mood of the Nation is that it's mainly really a celebration, again, because it's episode 200. Now, let me see if I can send out the links to everyone else. Also, can everyone hear me just now? I know I've already spoken on the show just now, actually 15 minutes in, holy crap. But I just want to double check and see if the sound quality is any good, if I need to maybe change it or anything with that at all, please let me know. I have tested it before I went live, and I think it was good to go, if I'm not mistaken. So let me see. I've caught these before, but not for a long time. That's fair enough. Thank you, Albion, again. Audio is fine. Audio is fine. Thank you very much. Can hear you fine. Sounds good, mate. Right. Excellent. That's 4 people. Thank you you guys for letting me know regarding to that. Excellent. All good, Chief. Thank you very much. Right. I'll send this link. How am I going to send? Yeah, I'll probably send it on Twitter. That would make things easier for this person coming on. Let me see. Oh crap! I'm sure I'm sure they'll come on. I'll send them that just in case. Right. So then on to Telegram. I'll send the link out to the guest I'm going to be having on. Let me see. So there's you. Paste that there. there's you, but you won't be coming on until a bit later on, which is completely fine. And who else was it? Yeah, this person. Not going to reveal just yet on who exactly is going to be coming on when it comes to that, but I'm going to send this person the link as well. Is that it, or is there more people have asked to come on? So there's right. So that's 4 people so far. I think I did ask a couple of other people, but they said they couldn't because again, other commitments that were going on, which again is completely fine and dandy. So yeah, I just sent out the link to the various guests that will be appearing on the show, whether it be just now or maybe slightly later on. I understand that there will be another PA related stream at 7 on Mark's Odyssey channel, and that is this. I think it's the monthly PA Film Club. And tonight, well, of course, that's going to be at 7 p.m. And tonight's film is going to be, I believe it is The Long Good Friday, which I have heard, and I believe it stars, I can't, the name escapes me. It's, he's quite a well-known English actor. He was also in the only film well, the 2 films I've known this actor for being in is Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the live action Super Mario Brothers film, which a lot of people give that film is it Bob Hopkins? Is it Bob Hoskins or Bob Hopkins? I think it's Hoskins, but it's definitely Bob when it comes to that. But yes, tonight's film, PA Film Club, Bob Hoskins, right? That's the name. Thank you, Deb. So tonight's film for PA Film Club this month will be The Long Good Friday, which again, it's a film I've not seen, but I have heard about it. I've heard that it's one of the, well, it's arguably one of the best British films of all time, but after tonight's show, if you want to check that out, you can definitely do so by going on to Odyssey and going on to Mark's Odyssey channel, or even just like click on the link that I'm sure Mark and Patriarchal Alternatives Telegram channel have posted earlier today, and you can watch it through that. Right, excellent. Let me just get a quick drink before we get started even more. So, anyway. Pierce Brosnan is in it, right? That's fine. Long Good Friday, top film. Again, I've not really seen it, so I can't really comment on that. But anyways, so here is the first guest for tonight's episode, which I greatly appreciate for them coming along. So this man is definitely a dude. So this man needs no introduction. He is quite a well-known figure within the nationalist movement. He's been in the movement for, I believe, what was it, 20 or so years, something like that. But he's been in the game for a long, long time, and he's been very, very well respected gentleman regarding to nationalism, and also for being the leader of Patriarchal Alternative. I think I just already gave that away on who is it going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again on the Mood of the Nation podcast. It is none other than Mark Collett. How you doing, Mark?
Hello, my friend, and congratulations on number 200. What a milestone. It's quite a number to actually hit. Most people who start these shows, they sort of get to, maybe a dozen or so, and then they sort of peter out, unfortunately. But you're still there. You're still knocking it out of the park. You're still doing the shows. And I think that's one of the most important things. It's consistency. And you are consistently producing a good show that people enjoy, that people keep coming back for. And I commend you for that. You gave a great speech at the PA conference down south when you were invited to speak there. And, you've always been a wonderful activist. You've always attended events. And I think you've done this great job of straddling that line between content creation and real life activism. You're a very well respected member of the community. And I just want to say, well done, mate. You deserve a big round of applause today.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. You're far too kind, honestly. So I was even saying this on the stream earlier today that I even never expected this show to reach episode 100, let alone 200. But saying that, I guess now that, as I said earlier on, that I guess I'm in the same club as you, the 200 club. I guess now that means that this show is definitely going to be on for a long time as far as I'm concerned. So maybe a bit early to say at the moment, but again, here's to episode 300 when that comes. When will that be? I'm not entirely too sure, but it definitely will be coming along, maybe next year or something like that. I understand, Mark, that you are almost at 300. I think you just did your 261st episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I do mine weekly, so it's pretty easy to predict when that'll come, because the only times I don't broadcast is Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Day. So depending on when the shows fall, I could probably predict when the big 300 will be. But you've got to remember, whatever my figure is officially, you can add 100 to it, because there was 100 episodes of This Week on the Alt-Right before it became what it is now. So I have been doing this for a long time. I think my first ever episode, what was it? Maybe 2017. I know that my first pre-recorded scripted video that I did, that was about UKIP, and that was in 2016. So obviously I'm heading towards a decade of solid content creation with at least one video per week, and then a show per week as well, plus all the other things I do. And I think the thing that keeps people coming back more than anything is consistency. Within nationalism, as I've said, a lot of people come, a lot of people go, a lot of people start shows. And I think we need to see more follow through. And you're a guy who's shown immense follow through. And I am being very nice to you, but I was going to come on and slightly mock you, because although you do look very smart, it's the hottest day of the year here, and I thought, shall I come on camera and wear a suit as well to match him? And I'm like, no way, it's absolutely roasting. I was doing the gardening earlier, putting in the pea sticks and mowing the lawn, and I was sweating so much. It's just so hot here. The sun's beating down. It's a really still day, and I can actually hear the fans on my computer going in overtime. That's how hot it is. So you must be absolutely sweltering, but you do look very smart. You look very good, and you're certainly setting a good standard, my friend.
Thanks again, Mark. Yeah, I think the idea for me dressing up like this, again, because of for it being episode 200, and I thought about that maybe as soon as, I think actually before getting into work, because I've been thinking about the stream all day today. I'm just making sure that, what I'm going to be talking about and who's going to come on the show and all of that. So when I got back, I immediately went into the shower, got my suit on and all of that. I wasn't sweating or anything like that at all. So I was like, oh, this is going to be no problem whatsoever. And I think around about half an hour, I think it was about like 4:30, and I'm just like, oh no. It's like, here we go. Maybe this might be a bit of a bad idea. But again, I wanted to dress for the occasion. I think even there was another idea I had in mind, but again, I don't want to say that just now, but I want to save that for maybe later on, maybe for episode 250 or maybe 300. I don't know, but it's not saying episode 300 is not going to be like some Spartan general or anything like that at all. I think that might be going a bit way over the top, in my opinion, but it was something entirely different. But yeah, I want to keep that a bit of a surprise, maybe in the near future when regarding to that. But yeah, even saying that, I'm surprised at how warm it's actually getting, because I think, well, yesterday was pretty warm as well, but I think it was maybe the day before. It wasn't cold. It wasn't even like hot. I think it was getting to the point where it was just starting to creep in. It was getting a bit warmer. But yesterday, I've noticed this when I was at work, and even just today, actually, no, yesterday was it's still warm today, but yesterday it was like, where is this coming from? Like, because prior to this, I don't know if it was like in England, but up here in Scotland, again, it was just a lot more colder. But yeah, we're definitely getting a bit of a heat wave just now at this point in time, which I guess is somewhat of a good thing, because I was starting to get a little bit annoyed with the cold and all of that. But since now it's getting a bit warmer off, so it's really good to see regarding to that in this case. But yeah,
it's been really weird, because it was only a few days ago, literally a few days ago, I was actually saying to the missus, I was worried about our tomato plants, because I planted the tomato seeds, and it happens every year. I plant the bloody tomato seeds, and you can guarantee there hasn't been a frost for a good 2-3 weeks. So I think now is the time to plant those tomato seeds. And the next damn day, there's a frost. And there was a couple of weeks ago. We've had 2 frosts, and I said to her, "There's no way the tomato plants have survived this." And she was like, "I know, it happens every damn year." And the good news is the tomato plants have survived. But the bad news is we've gone from sort of those frosty spring mornings to what feels like the middle of summer. It's incredible. And it wasn't that long ago. The bottom of our garden was a little bit boggy and flooded. And now, well, you could be out there sunbathing. It's fantastic, but not so fantastic if you're wearing a beautiful thick suit like you are. And how long's this stream going to be? How long are you going to be sat there slowly cooking for?
Well, I did say that I was going to do it for 2 hours, so up until 7 o'clock, or maybe just before you guys go live for PA Fun Club. So I don't know how that's going to last, but
you know what? We should get you on Film Club at some point, because what we're doing now. So we used to do things by democracy, and as we all know, democracy doesn't work. So what we're doing now is we're having different content creators on. We've got a few lined up, and when we clear some space, we'll have to get you on, and you'll have to do a stream with us. We're asking people to give us their favorite film. So Warren Baylog has started off because he wanted to do the Long Good Friday. Morgoth's coming on, Toller's coming on, and there's so many people that since we said we're doing Film Club in this way, they've said, "Oh, I'd love to do this. I've always wanted to come on to talk about this particular film, and because you haven't reviewed it, I've never reached out to you." Keith Wood said he'd like to do one as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting a range of different people on to discuss their favorite film, and you'd definitely be welcome to come on, Chief. It'd be an honor.
Nice. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to see whenever that day comes along. I'm going to see what film I would like to pick, because there's so many. I may have talked about this on the show before, but I do consider myself to be a bit of a film buff, somewhat. Maybe not as much as I was maybe when I was slightly younger, but I do respect cinema and all of that. So I will definitely check and see what film I would love to talk about, because I thought about this regarding to PA Film Club. If I were to come back on, because I know I was on when you guys reviewed Braveheart, which it's kind of funny that looking back on it, considering it's a film about Scottish history and William Wallace, and of course me, a Scotsman, of course, giving my own opinions on the film regarding to that. But no, like, I will definitely see what film that would be. I even thought to myself, if I was on PA Film Club, there were maybe 3 or 4 films in particular I would love to talk about. One being The Warriors from 1979, which is, of course, is like a gang type of film or street gang type of picture.
One of my favorite films.
It's a great film. Yeah, absolutely. The other is RoboCop, the original 1987 film, not the remake.
Another one of my favorite films.
Another great film. The other one, if it were to be during Halloween time-ish, The Exorcist, because I think that film is absolutely tremendous. The original,
yeah, another strong choice.
Yep. And this 4th film, I highly doubt this would ever be covered, because it does require you to watch the original series, and that would be, in my personal favorite, one of my personal favorites would be End of Evangelion, which again, I highly doubt that would get reviewed because it requires you to watch the original anime, but it is up there as one of my favorite films of all time. I even recently bought the Blu-ray set, which is not watched just yet. If I have enough time, I'll see if I can maybe get that and watch it at some point again. But yeah, I'll definitely think about that at some point if for that day to come, if you want me on for PA Film Club. But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll maybe talk about something else, because I'm actually glad that you're on, Mark, considering that a lot of stuff has been going on. I know you've been doing a lot of videos for your channel on a Friday basis. There was one video in particular, and this was somewhat of a topic I was somewhat closely following, but not too much, and that's the whole Lauren Southern debacle that's been going on, considering that it has pretty much been outed of the type of shyster that she really is. And how she's getting all completely butthurt about it. The reason why I bring this up, because again, I know you made a video about it. One of the original videos I came across back in what was it, 2017 or 2018, maybe 2019, was actually that video I think it started off as a stream, but then made as a video, of course, of yourself talking about Lauren Southern, and I think there were talks about like hope not hate and all of that. And those were one of those videos I was starting to see through the BS that was civic nationalism and seeing more clearly on ethno-nationalism regarding to that. And of course, years later, seeing what's unfolded, what's been revealed from not just from people who knew Lauren Southern, but from Lauren Southern herself, it really just goes to show, just again, she's the prime example of like if people want to get into this movement, and especially if they want to do content creating, don't be like Lauren, because she is, in my personal opinion, she does come off as a bit of a parasite, considering the fact that, again, she's someone who claims to be of something, but in actuality, she's not really the thing that she claims to be. And the fact that she was getting all completely butthurt about it, I think that's mainly because she was seeing that people can see right through really her BS in this case. But yeah, and I do see there's quite a lot of people talking about that as well, like Albion Forever and Streaky Bacon. I mean, there's not really much else to say regarding to that whole subject, unless, have you got something, Mark? I know, again, you've made a video about it.
Well, I'll say this: when Lauren Southern burst onto the scene, it was very trendy and allowed. It was allowed on YouTube to talk about a lot of the issues she was talking about. And she came along, and she was a relatively attractive girl. I think she's had a lot of plastic surgery and other work done now, and now she looks quite different to how she originally looked. And she exploded onto the scene, and she tried to make out that she was sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, the girl for the discerning pro-white gentleman. And she did very well at that, and she made a lot of money. And to be honest, I'm not somebody who wants to go out and have a go at people that are essentially spreading our message to a new audience. And she was doing that. So I can't fault her for doing that. And if I did, it would be almost shooting myself in the foot, because people who listen to her stuff, often it was a pathway to us. But where I started pointing out that there was a problem was Lauren had sort of, how can I say it? There was a number of inconsistencies. She would say one thing and do another. And she clearly didn't seem to be as ideological as she made out. And later we found out she wasn't. Like, much of what she was doing was pre-scripted, and the scripts were being written for her by men in the movement that she was having relations for. She was sort of allegedly paying these men in kind. And this all came to a head when she fell in with a guy called Kalen Robertson. Now, Kalen Robertson was dealing with Hope Not Hate, and she was dealing with Hope Not Hate. And in the end, she got outed for this. It was me who outed her for it, actually. It was me who exposed it all. And once I'd exposed what they were all up to and let people know, she then more or less left the movement. That was it for her. She disappeared and sort of never to return almost. But then she did return. She's back now. And it turns out that while she's been away, what did she get up to? Well, she's had a child, which, that's a good thing. But then it turns out she had a child with a man who I believe is of Indian descent and worked for, according to the Daily Mail, quote unquote, the feds. So she was somebody who I think led everyone on a merry dance. And now she's making out that she's been badly treated by our community because we don't really want her back, or the vast majority of people don't want her back. And I don't think she has been harshly treated. She made a huge amount of money. She had an extremely good lifestyle. She traveled all over the world doing something that is probably pretty enjoyable to do as jobs go, traveling around and vlogging and making videos and attending demonstrations and being on talk shows and having everyone listen to you. That's the sort of thing that a lot of people would, really, really want to do. They would, it would be the kind of thing that would be what would be called a dream job. But she used that position to gain herself wealth, but she didn't live by the values she was espousing. And in the end, she sold us out for what I would describe as a Marxist organization that works to undermine and destroy our racial solidarity. And when it comes down to it, that can't just be forgiven. And then when she was at the height of her fame, I don't think it would be unfair to say that she wouldn't have been pushed to get a fella. You know, she could have pretty much had whatever fella she wanted in the movement. And instead of doing that, she decided to do this whole, well, I'm not a nationalist anymore, and got out of it. But now she wants back in. Now the money's dried up and her life's gone off the rails and she's a single mum. She wants back in, and she wants a slice of that sweet nationalist action again. And I don't believe that she should be somebody who's just welcomed back and given the keys to the castle.
Yeah. There was actually something I believe she wrote not too long ago that I think maybe this idea that according to Lauren Southern in this case, apparently nobody within the right wants or respects women, or wanting women as like figureheads in the movement, and even if they are, then they shouldn't be respected. When I first saw it, I'm paraphrasing, of course, and it might be something along those lines, but I remember looking at that and thinking, but Lauren, there's plenty of women in the right who not only are well liked but are well respected. I mean, for Christ's sake, I mean, I people like Laura Towler, people like Jody K. If someone even mentioned in the chat Brittany Pettibone, or now Brittany Selnar, which I think there's a lot of people who make a. I don't know if it's just me, but I think there was a point where people would make this kind of argument that Brittany Selnar is somewhat the polar opposite of Lauren Southern. In the case of Brittany Selnar, comes off as a bit more. In fact, I think it's Albion Forever that says it in the chat. She seemed to be genuine and more sincere, which, I mean, I can maybe see that. I've not spoken to her personally, so I can't really tell for sure. But from what I've seen of her videos and such, she does seem to come off as more genuine and more sincere. But I mean, still, there's plenty of women in the right who are well liked and well respected. So I just don't understand. Well, I kind of do understand why she would make this point. Her being, of course, Lauren Southern. But yeah, there was also something I remember.
Well, let's just touch on Brittany Selnar for a while, because Lauren and Brittany did work together. They were sort of a double team for quite.
That's right.
And it is very interesting, and I'm pleased you compared the two, because both of them were in the same position. They were both traveling around, often together, actually. They did work on numerous projects which involved traveling to Europe. And both of those girls were in the position where they could have chosen any man they wanted in the movement, gone forth, procreated, and been figureheads for this movement in a positive way. Now, if you look at Brittany Selnar, what did she do? She went forth, she met Martin, she married him, she had babies with him, she started a family with him, and they began a life together as a traditional couple. So she did use her power and her sex appeal and her clout in the movement to basically to propel herself into a position where she lived the lifestyle that she espoused. She espoused this lifestyle of, traditional wife, traditional life, family, marriage, children. And she did that. And she did that with a man in the movement who is a respected, good man, very much liked, a politician, somebody who everyone speaks very highly. I've never heard anyone speak poorly of Martin Selnar. I've met Martin, I've met Brittany, and they are really lovely people. And I'll tell you this, when it comes down to it, Brittany's kind of the archetype of that traditional, modern yet traditional woman who has done things the right way. And I suppose, if you like, they're perfect examples of the opposite end of the scale. So one is a woman doing it the right way for the right reasons, and one is a woman doing it the wrong way because she was in nationalism for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's something that was there was actually a point I was going to bring up in terms of working together. I think there was a point where they were banned from entering the UK at some point. Maybe that was back in what 2017 or 2018. Because I remember that was happening. It was Lauren Southern, Brittany Sellner, well Pettibone at the time, and also Martin Sellner at that time as well. But yeah, absolutely true. Yeah, it's definitely a case of, again, for people getting into nationalism, and if they really want to see that the possible paths they would like to go to regarding to nationalism and where they hope to achieve, yeah, they would definitely look at people like Lauren Southern on one end and Brittany Sellner on the other end, basically. And it's like, well, which would you rather choose? It's kind of like that meme you would see online of the red pill, blue pill like path. You know, you take the blue pill, you take that path, or if you want to take the red pill, you take the other path. And which way, Western man? That sort of meme, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, absolutely, yeah, indeed. When regarding to that, there was another thing I wanted to ask in regards to what we're going to be talking about in this case. Because I think you said you were not going to be here for long. I think it was about maybe like half an hour or such. So I don't want
I can be here for half an hour. I can be here. Yeah, I can be here for half an hour. Yeah, it's not a problem.
Cool, excellent. I guess what we can talk about, because like I said at the start of the stream, I was going to do like a shoot the shit type of stream. I had not really much anything planned. There are topics I do want to cover, but I think there's some of them I want to save for other guests. And like, for example, I'm going to get another guest on. I'll not going to mention the person's name, but they're Scottish. I'll say that. And I definitely want to maybe talk about Hamza Yusuf because he's now out of the picture. Great. So it would be interesting from a Scotsman to a Scotsman on what exactly their takes on that. Or I guess maybe, I know you're not Scottish, Mark. I know of course, you're down in England, but when the news happened with Hamza Yusuf, I mean, what was your take on that? Were you surprised that happened? And what do you hope to see would happen in the future for the SNP?
I don't know. This might sound odd, but I was actually hoping that Hamza Yusuf would have been around a little bit longer because he was making such a mess of things. It was really a good thing for us. The guy was literally annoying everybody. He was failing completely as a leader, and he was sinking the SNP. And the SNP is obviously a false nationalist party. It's not a real nationalist party. It's a multicultural, multiracial, pro-EU party. And on that basis, I definitely do think that having somebody like Hamza Yusuf to basically crash it and destroy it was actually a good thing. However, him actually going so quickly did surprise me because he was built up in such a way as being so important and being so sort of, really an example of how migrants could rise to the top in Britain, etc., etc. I couldn't imagine his own party having the guts to turn on him, not least because when it came down to it, he actually rose to power within the SNP to almost this dirty backdrop of people being threatened that if they didn't support him and didn't vote for him, it would be a de facto act of racism. The same happened in the Tories, where people were saying, well, if the Tories don't put Rishi Sunak in power, then, they're racist. And I think it's very interesting to see that somebody who was put on that pedestal and almost seemed untouchable was gone so quickly. Now, what will a lasting effect be on the SNP? I don't know, but I can imagine that he's done a lot to end the Scottish public's love affair with that party. And I think as a result, what you could see is Scotland go back towards Labour, which is an interesting prospective outcome because Labour used to largely rely on that bloc vote north of the border to retain sizable parliamentary majorities. England has always been a lot more iffy about voting Labour than Scotland has. And I should imagine that this will bring about a situation that will help Keir Starmer more than anyone. I think it'll be Keir Starmer who'll be looking at this thinking to himself, you know what, this is going to give me at least a toehold in Scotland. it might see Scotland come back to the Labour Party. And if it does, that will be something which will be a major milestone towards what appears to be an inevitable Labour victory in 2025, judging that the general election is not held before. But I personally can't see the Tories calling an early general election. I believe it will be held in January 2025.
Yeah, indeed. I definitely would see Labour getting in within Scotland, because throughout history, even though the Tories have never went into or been elected within Scottish Parliament or anything like that at all, we always seem to vote for a more left-leaning party, whether it's Labour or maybe or in this case, in modern context, the SNP. Scotland historically has never voted Tory, never. I think it's more to do with like partly to do with like historical reasons. It's partly to do with like cultural reasons. It's also to do more like with political reasons, especially when it comes to someone like, say, Margaret Thatcher. I mean, there's people even to this very day, people here in Scotland absolutely despise the woman, even though she's passed away. She's been dead for quite a long while now, but there's still that sense of, if you mention her name, then people just have this outright hatred for this woman. And yeah, people hear it just will just refuse to vote Tory. Now, myself with previous Scottish general elections, may have voted Tory maybe once or twice, and even when I told my family members, my friends about this, well, who would you vote for? Or I vote for the Tories. They just act like as if like you've committed the worst sin imaginable. Like, I can't believe you would vote Tory. Like, how like, you absolute traitor. Like, it's honestly it's that bad. If you think, say, I don't know if you know much about your football lore or anything like that at all, but here in Scotland we got Rangers and Celtic, which it has more to do with sectarianism between Protestants and Catholics, Protestants being Rangers, Catholics being Celtic, of course. There's definitely this sense of like tribalism in Scotland when it comes to stuff like that. And if you dare to like vote for the Tories or even support the Tories, or not even necessarily supporting the Tories, even just outright saying, look, I don't necessarily support the Tories. I think some of their policies I think are all right. You know, they're not that bad. People just look at you as if you are a monster. Like, just how dare you even say that about the Tories? Again, there's all this like really cringy stuff about like, oh, the Tories are fascists. You know, they're like neo-Nazis. They're white supremacists. You know, the same drivel we hear. Sorry, excuse me, over and over and over again. So, yeah, I mean, again, I would not be surprised if Labour does get in, and if that does happen, I kind of do want that to happen, not just as like a big middle finger to the SNP, but if Labour does get in, I think maybe it would open the door if Labour becomes even worse than the SNP, which I'm sure that's going to bound to happen, not just here in Scotland, but all across the UK, then definitely people will look at the Labour Party and want to say to themselves, there has to be some kind of alternative at this point in time, because I think, as it's probably been said before, but I think people are just really just fed up with that, especially here in Scotland. People are just completely, what's the word, apathetic when it comes to politics. People just don't really care too much about it anymore. I think it was here in Scotland, it had the lowest turnout for a general election voting, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely too sure what exactly, but that definitely does tell you that there's a lot of apathy here in this country, because people just don't really buy into the BS anymore. And even if they do go out and vote at this current rate, they would just vote for the SNP because of possibly one reason, and that's independence. Now, when it comes to Scottish independence, what the SNP are really advocating for is Scotland going back to the European Union, which to me, that just completely defeats the whole purpose of Scottish independence. I mean, if you want Scotland to be an independent nation, it has to be an independent nation, so it doesn't become part of any other group or union. But what the SNP and what people, supposedly support the SNP want is Scotland to be part of the European Union. Why? Possibly, well, possibly for one of the reasons is, again, it's all part of that acceleration of immigration and all of that. At least, in my opinion, regarding to that. But yeah, that's to do with that in terms of Scottish politics. So, Mark, is there any future plans for Patriotic Alternative in terms of things coming up or things maybe down the pipeline? Like anything you want to maybe add onto that in terms of like the future of Patriotic Alternative?
Well, people know what we like to do, and people know that we like conferences and camps. So I just say to people this: if you liked what you saw last year, and we had an amazing camp last year, we had an amazing conference, and we had a lot of other really, really great events. And if you like what you see and want to be part of a real world community, get yourself signed up. You can contact me at Mark at the Fall of Western Man. You can sign up on the website, you can pay your membership, and you'll be invited to all these great events. And it would be wonderful to see you there. And it'd be wonderful if you got on board and help us build, the biggest and most dynamic nationalist organization in the UK.
Indeed. I'll actually add on to that when it comes to those events, because of course I've been to a couple of times the PA summer camps last year and the year before, both of which were fantastic experiences. I have been to the PA conferences. I think I've been there overall like maybe 3 or 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless of that, I've been to the PA conferences and they're absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I do definitely vouch on that idea for people who haven't been to these events. Definitely get yourself involved, and if you really want to participate in these events, yeah, contact Mark or anyone from, well, I say maybe Mark in this case, regarding to that, and see if you want to get yourself involved with these activities. And also, again, another thing that I'd add on to that, and I don't want to come off as a bit of like a party pooper when it comes to this, but regarding to the events this year, I think I'm going to have to skip the summer camp this year. It's mainly because of the fact that, again, work related when it comes to that. So I think there might be a chance I'm not going to be able to make it to the camp. That being said, however, I will definitely be coming to the PA conference this year. Regardless of where it's going to be held or where exactly a part of the country is going to be, I'm going to be there at the conference. The summer camp, unfortunately, can't make it this year, but a Patriotic Alternative conference, that's the major PA event I will definitely be turning up for regarding to that. But yeah, that being said, is there anything else you would like to mention, Mark, or anything you want to talk about?
Not really, my friend. I don't want to take up too much time because obviously you said you've got some more guests coming on. I don't want to be the hog who prevents those people getting any airtime. But I just want to say again, thank you for everything you've done for Patriotic Alternative. Thank you for the community work you've done. And thank you for all the amazing streams and informational and humorous output you've produced over the last few years. And, obviously it's a big milestone for you. And I hope you go on to hit many more milestones. You're a very important part of this community and you're doing great work. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your show, and I hope to get you on the film club sometime.
No worries. Well, thank you very much for being here, Mark, and hope to speak to you again at some point, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too. Take care. Well, folks, that was Mark Collett for episode 200 of Mood of the Nation podcast. Can we get a big round of applause and also a big 14 in the chat for Mr. Mark Collett? And also to add on to that, folks, it is now 5 to 6 or about 5:55. This evening at 7 p.m., Mark and also a few others, I believe, Navis Concern, St. Harrison, and I think even Mark even said earlier on, it was Warren Baylog will be appearing on this month's PA Film Club, which tonight's film, they will be reviewing The Long Good Friday. And if you want to check that out, definitely you can do so after the stream comes to an end. If you want to give that a watch, then head on over to Odyssey and go on over to Mark's Odyssey channel and then see for yourself. I'm going to be tuning into it, of course, because again, even though I've not seen the film myself, it might be one of those films I would like to maybe check out at some point if I've got enough time, of course, and maybe see from there. So, but yeah, so I don't have another guest lined up at the moment, but again, I greatly appreciate Mark coming along, and hopefully he's going to be getting ready for his show at 7 p.m. So, because even I don't want to keep him waiting as well, regarding to that, but because I know that he would want to prepare for the show coming up regarding to that. So, but again, thank you, Mark, for coming along. Hopefully, I'll catch you in the next future regarding to that. But yeah, that's fantastic. Hopefully, I'll be on the PA Film Club at some point in the near future. Now, that's going to really annoy me because the films I've listed, well, the first three in particular, I'm going to have to decide which of those three I would want to talk about, because I got a lot of stuff or a lot of things to say regarding to those films in this case. So it's going to be really tough when, of course, Mark asks, for that time, if I want to come on, then I'll need to see what film that would be. I just want to have a quick check and see if anything comes up message wise. Let me see. Just getting my computer on and sorted. I don't have a guest at the moment. You can come on if you like. I think I'm going to have another guest on in just a moment here, folks. I definitely should have had this all planned. Yeah, another person will be coming along in just a few moments with that. So, sorry, excuse me. I was hoping to maybe do the stream maybe slightly later on, but again, it's a case of mostly PA's content usually streams on a Sunday. So, and I know James Goddard normally streams on a Thursday. I think other days throughout the week as well. And I didn't want to be like kind of overtaking James's 7 o'clock slot, especially it being like episode 200. But even that being said, Mood of the Nation will be back this coming Thursday at 6 p.m. for episode 201. So definitely keep an eye out on that. What I will also do, folks, I'm just going to put my link for my Twitter account. If you guys haven't followed me there just now, this would be my brand spanking new Twitter account, which has 85 followers at the moment. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so. And I'm going to see if I'm going to be using that Twitter account a bit more often, or at least try to. I'll still use my Telegram for like updates and such as well. But I'm also going to be using Twitter, or X, whatever it's going to be called nowadays, as another form of like updating and maybe give my opinions on certain things here and there regarding to that. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter or X, you can at this moment in time. Again, if you haven't done so already, that would be much appreciated. I'm almost at 100 followers at this current time, so that would be fantastic by the end of today. Or not by the end of today, sorry, by the end of tonight's stream, which I doubt this will happen. Maybe my Twitter account might hit 100 followers. I don't know, but we'll definitely wait and see with that. DJ's in the chat. How you doing? And also DDJ, thank you very much. Lurking while driving up the A9B. Thank you very much. Let me see here. Carl here. Thank you very much. Thank the Lord. How you doing? There's a lot more familiar faces in the chat, which is really good to see. I'm just going to be waiting on a couple of other guests coming on. Well, I say couple, but I think there's one other guest who is coming on. Albion Forever writes, Hope Tola gets on to review Threads. Watched that recently. It was horrifying. I have seen clips of that film, and I know it's one of those films. I believe it is a British made film. I don't know if it was a film or it was like a TV special, but it is one of those films that's regarded as one of the most disturbing films of all time, because it's a film that's all about the Cold War during the 80s and what would happen if there actually was a nuclear missile attack that happened in Great Britain. And yeah, some of the imagery I've seen of that film, it does make it look really terrifying. There's one iconic, if you want to call it that, or maybe infamous image of the film is the one where I think it's meant to be like a security guard or a police officer or whatever line of enforcement they're on. They got this kind of weird looking mask on their face, and one of the creepy things about that image is that you don't actually know the name of the actor who played that role, which only just makes it more creepy in a sense regarding to that. But yeah, that's something I think even who was it that said it in the chat? Albion Forever says it's free to watch on YouTube. Well, again, if I have enough time, I'll see if I can try and give that a watch because I definitely want to check that out at some point. Dying for a dual carriageway stuck in behind a lorry. Lol. Dear. Hopefully you get back soon, DJ. But thank you very much for listening in and watching the stream. That would be much appreciated. Let me see. Is that the Rick Mail thing or not? I'm not entirely too sure. Excuse me. See, I knew that it was a bit of a bad idea to wear the suit because I'm still just roasting away. Good thing I got this glass of cola, so hopefully, well, it's not like the mainstream cola; it's like cheap cola, basically. But yeah, it's a good thing I got this drink on me because I think I would be dead without a drink or here and there. So. Anyway, the film. I mean, I'm not too sure to be honest. Thank the Lord, I'm not entirely too sure regarding to that. Also, Ragnar Iron Spear, thank you very much for watching the show. I've just noticed you in the chat. Thank you very much for watching. Just checking to see any updates on Telegram and see from there. Yeah, that was the last thing I've sent them. Right, that's fine. Yeah, I think they're just like setting up their computer or whatever it was that they said. And then they'll be on the show in a moment or two. Let me see. Got a heart from Aunt Sally. And also, Aunt Sally was also in the chat as well. Thank you very much for watching the stream, Aunt Sally. Excuse me. I just see Woodlanders in the chat. Thank you very much for watching. Greatly appreciate you being here. Let's see. Right. Excellent stuff. Right. That's from DJ Resisting the Lies. So I gained one follower on Twitter or X, which is really good to see. Yeah, right. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, again, I apologize for somewhat a bit of a dead air. I do have stuff to talk about, but I really want to save those for the guests coming on. But with regards to that, if you know, you know. Dear. He resists not the pies. Dear. Dear. Quite a few people watching the stream tonight, which is really good to see. So there's 42 people watching. Oh, and also I realized normally on the show I would run about the last half an hour of the show. I would go into like some kind of Q&A section. I'm not going to do that for this episode. I think what I'm going to be doing is because with the guests that are going to be coming on just rather shortly, I'm just going to do the full show just straight on with guests on and not do a Q&A section. For episode 201, which would be this Thursday, I'm going to have a Q&A section when that comes along. Need Twitter here. Sorry, Chief. Okay, no worries, Robert. No worries. So yeah, there's no Q&A section. And there was actually something I almost forgot to mention. Not far away, mate. Right, that's fine. Okie dokie, no worries. Perfect. Jazz Smash, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Good to have you here. Sorry, I'm just getting like really even on my computer here is even saying like in terms of the temperature, it's getting like near record. Whether it's regarding to that, in terms of like the heat wave, and yeah, I can definitely feel that at this moment in time. It's getting really, really warm in here. Yeah, maybe the suit is maybe a bit of a bad idea. But you know what? I'll soldier on through. I will soldier on through with that. So, how do Streaky Mate or with Streaky Bacon regarding to that? I guess what I will say at the moment, while I wait for my next guest to show, is that I even though I never really I would have imagined. I know I've somewhat already have said this or stated this. I never would have imagined Mood of the Nation would reach up to 200 episodes, and I know this might be a bit kind of cheesy or maybe somewhat gay of me to say, but um, I I think the only reason how that's possible is mainly because of you guys, the people who come on a regular basis, whether it be every a single episode or maybe if you didn't catch one episode, but you're back and watching it, the next one regarding to that. You guys are usually always there, well, on a weekly basis, which again, I just really can't thank you guys enough regarding to that. And the fact that I've done 200 episodes of this show and seeing the regular viewers of the show who would literally would come back on a weekly basis. I mean, I don't know how that's possible, but I guess I've done something right, you know. But I mean, even that being said, I really can't thank you guys enough for your continued support and also continuously watching the show, whether it be like live or maybe even afterwards if you didn't catch it live and you watched it afterwards, type of an idea. Um, just yeah, I just want to say like again, thank you all very much for just continuing to watch the show, and I will definitely be continuing on and making more episodes to come. We'll definitely see if we can get up to episode 300. When will that be? I highly doubt it would be this year, but I think it will be possibly sometime next year. But we'll definitely wait and see. And even that being said, I will definitely be doing the show on a more weekly basis. And like I said, episode 201 will be back on this Thursday. I forgot the date. Hold on. Today's 12th. That would be the Thursday the 16th. Yeah, perfect. So that's going to be at 6 p.m. And I'm going to do my best to do that on a more weekly basis regarding to that. There might be some points where I'm just like, oh, guys, I can't do the show because of this reason and all of that. But Mood of the Nation will be continuing on a much more regular basis. I will try my best regarding to that. Let me see. We love your show. Thanks for doing it. Well, thank you very much, Joey. Greatly appreciate your support. And also, English Rose, thank you for all you've done, Mr. Moody. Many more to come, I hope. Yeah, we'll definitely be making more. I'm only here to gaze at the wallpaper. Thank you, Streaky Bacon. I think Woodlander said something as well. So warm. Even Moody's wallpaper flowers are rife, and I know. It's that warm. It is definitely that warm. So, DJ, selling yourself short, Moody. It's not who watches you. I made my channel in 2016 and got no views for years. It's persistence, right? That's fair enough. So, but even then, it's like I'm still surprised that people still come and actually watch my content because look, I'm no Brad Pitt, I'm no George Clooney or whatever. I'm just a guy, I probably look like that one celebrity that people would mention. Is it Nick Frost or something like that? I think it was Clive or No Chance that actually made that point, or was it some? I think it was Clive or No Chance that made that point that I look like Nick Frost. Which I mean, thanks very much for that. I can't really, do I appreciate that? Well, no, but I guess I look like somebody in terms of like a celebrity with regard to that. Speaking of celebrities, my next guest is on the show just now. Well, they're in the backstage. I'm just going to bring them on just now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a person who I've always wanted on my show for a long, long time. I think even since all the way back in, I think it was 2021, if I'm not mistaken, when I was at the very first PA Scotland conference around about start of October, I think it was, late September, early October, I think it was. And this person was there, which of course was the first time we actually met in person. And, of course, she was a content creator at the time. She was doing live streams and all of that. I'm a live streamer and all of that. And I thought, well, if you want to come on the show, then would you like to come on at some point? And we just never really got around to it because me just being incredibly busy with such. Well, this person is appearing for the first time ever on the Mood of the Nation. And what better episode to appear for the first time ever than being the 200th episode? Ladies and gentlemen, this lady, yes, you heard me right, lady. It's not Laura. It is someone, another well-respected lady in the nationalist movement. This woman needs no introduction. She's a very relatable woman who has. She went through a more. Would it be fair to say like more a liberal sided type of worldview and all of that, like everyone's all equal and all of that, but then she got awakened, if you will, with the truth and what exactly is really going on. But even with all that being said and done, she persisted and she fully embraced the nationalist movement. And when it comes to that, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure for the first time ever on the Mood of the Nation podcast. Let me bring on to the show Miss Jody K. Hello, Jody. How you doing? Thank you very much for coming on the Mood of the Nation. Oh, is she there? Oh, god damn it. Oh no. They need to connect their mic and right. But yeah, so yeah, folks, it's Jody K. I think she'll be back on in just a moment or two. Maybe she's just sorting out a connection issue there. And also, Rory, that's a very good guess with regard to like who would be that on the show. Ochiai-san, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Right, okay. She'll be back in just a moment. I'm sure maybe she's just sorting out a couple of things just there. Maybe it's like a connection issue or something like that, but she will be back. Yeah, Jody. Wait, what? Don't worry. I'm sure maybe it's just like a connection issue or something like that. But she will be back in just a moment or two with that, folks. Oh dear. Wait a minute. 1 second. I'm just gonna see if. Yeah, you're there. Right, that's fine. Let me see. Oh, right. I think that's her back. Wait a minute. I'll bring her on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on to the show. That is Miss Jody K. Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you just now, yeah. Oh dear.
That was hilarious. But that's such a lovely introduction, such a big build up. And here she is, and she's gone.
Yeah, it was like a big build up to it, and then it's like silence. And,
Oh,
then you
hilarious.
wait away, like, oh no, you're not. But anyways, Jody, this is your first time on the Mood of the Nation podcast. You're finally on the show after what 200 episodes in, and you're finally appearing as a guest on the show this evening. Thank you very much for coming along. How have you been doing, miss?
Yeah, really, really well. It's taken me a while to be well. I disappeared, as everyone noticed, just reading the chat, and someone's like, I didn't know she was still around. It's been a journey from the beginning to now. It's been a real journey, but I haven't disappeared. I've had people messaging me saying, has she gone back to Ibiza? Has she gone into early retirement? I'm like, I'm still here. I'm just working in the background. Had to get all my stuff sorted. So yeah, when you messaged me and said, would I come on? I said, absolutely. What an honor for your 200th show. So well done for being here and persisting, as someone said.
Yeah. Well, for this special occasion, I did wear, I'm wearing my suit, and I am deeply regretting that now, considering how warm it's gotten. But I thought maybe I would wear the suit because, again, it is another milestone episode for the show, which I know I said this over and over again on tonight's episode, but I never would have imagined it would get up to 200 episodes, let alone 100 episodes. But we're here now, so I guess I must have done something right, I guess. But yeah, we're here. So
Well done, well done.
thanks very
The only
much.
reason I haven't got my camera on is because I'm not in a suit and I'm still just sitting here sweating. I don't think it's a good look.
Honestly, that's no worries. I can understand, considering that the weather is getting, thankfully, it's getting a lot better. But maybe it's getting a bit. See, this is something that a lot of people tend to do, especially Scottish people. We complain about the weather, like, oh, it's far too cold, and then as soon as there's a little bit of warmth come in, we still complain, like, oh, it's far too warm. Like, I can't take this any much longer. But I mean, thankfully, it is getting a bit warmer. But I think maybe it was a bit too warm in this case, in my opinion. But I mean, what can you do? It's May at this point in time. We're not in the summer period just yet, but I think that may be a sign that summer is on the horizon, which, I mean, I can't wait for with regards to that. But yeah, so Jody, I mean, I know I keep saying this, but this is your first time coming on. I'm sorry it's taken this long to get you on the show. I mean, like I said, it's just been hectic with other things going on behind the scenes, and then my personal life and all of that. But when I was going to be making episode 200, I thought I want to bring on people who have been on the show before, but I also want to bring people on who have been on the show, especially for it being, again, another milestone episode. And one of those people I thought of was yourself, because I know I've watched your content for, well, when you were making it at the time, for quite a long while. I would watch your streams occasionally when they were on. And I remember the time, like I just mentioned before the show, or before you went on, we first met in person at the PA Scotland conference, the very first one back in, was it 20? I'm pretty certain it was 2021. And I remember,
It
I
must have
remember,
been, yeah.
yeah, like 2021.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was being introduced to you, uh, you were told that, oh, this year this is Chief Moody, and I believe you thought I was the chief
Media.
technician. Yeah, chief
I was
media.
trying
That's
to
right.
tune into the accent from up there, and someone introduced you and said, "Oh, this is Chief Media," and I looked and kind of nodded, and went, "Oh, great," and he said, "Chief Moody," and my face just must have gone, "Oh my word, it's Chief Moody!" I was just so happy to see you. Yeah, Chief Media.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, like, even like back then. And I remember, like, when it was all coming towards the end of that conference, we spoke for a bit, we shook hands, and of course, that was when I asked you if you want to come on. And I know it's taken us. I think that's been about almost 3 years ago now. I think of it. I actually can't believe it's been that long. It doesn't seem that long, but of course, internet years, it seems like a hell of a long time regarding to that. But you're here on the show finally with regards to that in this case. What I would want to ask you, Jody, is I know there may be people that might be wondering as well. And if you don't mind me asking, what exactly are you doing at the moment? Are you still producing music at the moment? Have you maybe been doing something else in the meantime? Or because, yeah, like we just mentioned before, you were away for a while, but then I think you were just coming back, but you're doing more behind the scenes stuff. And I think one of the things that people did appreciate about you was you're an absolute fantastic musician, great singer, and all of that. And I'm just really curious to know as well, is that, are you still producing music? Are you actually still doing your like podcast for, was it Free Speak Radio, I think you were on at the time? Or is it still mainly at this point just behind the scenes stuff, currently speaking, when it comes to that?
Currently, well, when I kind of disappeared, that was me sorting my life out. The dreaded DOXX. I mentioned on my Telegram channel the other day, it is a powerful tool, and that's why they use it, because of the power it has. And I know of the destruction it's had to so many people's lives and the devastation other people have had just because of it. And it's not just the moment of the time you're in the paper, or the time you're all over social media, or the time, you know, you're in public eye, inverted commas. It's the aftermath of, you know, trying to get a job, trying to find a yoga studio that will work with me, trying to get a gig. So when I was heavily active, I had the pleasure, I took a year out from work. I didn't need to work at that time due to my situation. So I had the time, the capability, the means, the energy to put 100% into content, songs, activism, going out on the streets, being there at protests. Then my situation changed and I had to get a job. That itself was difficult. And then I left the YouTube to go to Speak Free Radio. And then when I got my job, it was such an intense change to have had 10 years in Ibiza doing kind of freelance stuff. And my job then was very relaxed. And even before that, I was working in schools, or I was working in care homes. And then to come back to a really regimented, routine job, it changed. It was so hard to adapt to. And I was trying to do 2 nights of radio. And I didn't have the time or the energy to put good content together for a show. And I thought, I want to be saying something meaningful. And I've always said I'm not the best political speaker because I've never really been into politics. So I felt I didn't have the knowledge, all the words, all the vocabulary, all the background to really be a pundit on politics. And I was just so tired, so I had to give up the radio show. But what I've been doing is sorting myself out, building up my business, which is going well. I also have a job, and as well as music production, I'm doing a course in music production. So as well as the writing and getting all the material and gathering, I'm doing a production course to have a good production that sounds good as well, rather than just, you know, good songs. So I felt people who I'd been on streams with, and they said to me, or they were contacting me through Von Hash, and they're saying, has she gone into early retirement? Where has she gone? Because I just had to stop. I didn't even do a farewell show on the Speak Free Radio. It just, right, I have to take care of myself. And I described it. It may seem a bit, what's the word? Soft to some people, but I really felt like a wounded soldier that had to come off the battlefield to recoup and go into that time to recoup and get strong again. And I feel I've done that. So I'm in the process of, I'm getting ready to produce, release a new track, more new tracks. I've got an album on the way. I'm getting into content videos again. So I haven't disappeared, and I was listening to you and Mark talk about the girls that had been in the movement and now aren't in the movement. And I'm still here. I'm very much here. I just had to regain myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was one of the people that was wondering if you were doing okay, because like I said, I was following your content for a while, and yeah, you completely disappeared. But it's good to see that you are still around and you are doing well and you're doing okay. I think actually the last time we met in person, I believe, was at the conference last year back in October.
Yeah.
That was actually the first time we've actually seen each other for a while. We spoke to each other for a while, and that was also after the the split that happened, the breakup. Yeah, and I remember I think it was it was yourself and another gentleman who I won't mention their name, obviously, for privacy's sake, because they're not a public person. But I remember there was a question when we were talking about what's been going on and all of that. One of the questions was like, why was it that you wanted to stay with like PA? And it's a very reasonable question to ask, considering that the guys who had split off, I've known them since like what 2020, and I've getting to know them for a long time, and have grown bonds with them during that time. And I've already said this to you and the gentleman, but my answer to that would be this: is that I just think splitting off into separate groups is not only going to further confuse people, but I think it just makes nationalism look incredibly weak. Of course, there's going to be people that have their differences and have their opinions on nationalism and here and there. But I think, in my opinion, at this moment in time, we really, really need to just drop all the egos and start working together. Because if we don't, it's just going to get much worse than what is at this moment in time. And I'm also just really happy to see that you are slowly but surely coming back, even though it's still behind the scenes stuff. But I'm happy to see that you're still around, you're still doing great when it comes to that. And I hope to maybe see you again in the future, maybe a future conference or anything like that, or maybe we can speak to each other again on a future episode when it comes to that, Jody. So
100%. And credit to you as well for sticking. It must have been, well, I said to you at the last conference, it must have been so hard with you being like where you are geographically, and sticking around. And I said to you, credit to you as well. Well done. And I just want to say this as well. I went through, obviously, the personal journey that I've spoken about for the last 3 years, but I've also had a lot of incidences with people in this movement. And I, like you said, I want to keep nationalism clean and professional. And I can't openly lie. My body tells the truth. Even if I'm trying to lie, my body tells the truth. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm very open. And the things that were happening to me, I didn't want to talk about them because I didn't want more drama or infighting or airing things that should remain private. So that's another reason I took a step back, because I took and I'm not innocent, but I took a battering from someone I thought was my friend. And I didn't want to share that with people. It's not for sharing. And being in the inverted commas public eye, well, I had to sort that out. So that's another, personal issue. But I think nationalism should remain professional, clean, and try and set a standard to lead by example. So yeah, that's another thing I wanted to touch on. But yeah, credit to you for staying.
No worries. Excellent. So my two other guests have just showed up in the backstage just now. I'll definitely see if I can maybe bring them on in just a minute or two. Again, maybe just one by one. Jody, are you happy to stay along, or do you need somewhere to be, or regarding to that?
No, but if you're next guest to hear, I'm happy just to again, sit in the background where I have been. But just thank you for having me on. I will be releasing hopefully this evening. I've got a track that hopefully will be released this evening, so I'm kind of working on that as well. So I'll have you on in the background whilst doing that. But thank you for having me on, and I have no doubt you will see me in a few months.
Excellent. Well, Jody, thanks again for coming along.
Thank you.
I'll definitely have you back on the show at some point in the near future. It won't be like another 100 episodes or anything like that at all, but we'll see with that. So
have a good show.
So you too. Thank you, Jody. Take care.
Bye.
Excellent. Well, folks, that was Jody K for the first time ever on the Mood of the Nation podcast. I'm really happy to see that she appeared on the show. And I'm also happy to see, as I mentioned, that she is still technically around, which is really good to see regarding to that. Lovely to hear from Jody again. Yep, definitely. I think maybe, well, not to like toot my own horn, but I don't know if maybe this is like the first time she appeared on a live stream or Nationalist live stream of sort, anything like that at all. But I mean, hey, if that's the case, then cool, I guess. Anyways, folks, two of my other guests have just appeared in the backstage. What I'm just gonna be doing is that it's 6:30. We're half an hour to go on the show. I'm just going to bring both of them on just now, if that's okay with them at the moment here. Homa Talk is in the chat right now. Thank you very much for watching the show. Right, I'm going to start off with this gentleman here, another Scotsman, and then I'll bring my other guests on at the moment here. Folks, this Scotsman has been on the show before. Well, no, technically on a separate live stream that it wasn't Mood of the Nation, but it was a live stream of mine at the time, which I think again that was like ages ago. But this is someone who is a very respected member within nationalism. He has a massive following on his social media accounts, especially his YouTube. He makes great quality videos when it comes to the SNP and all the stuff that's been going on regarding to that, especially as of late. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to the show on the Mood of the Nation podcast. It's Mr. No Chance. Hello, No Chance. How you doing, sir?
Hello, Moody. Thanks for having me.
No,
Congratulations on your 200.
Yeah, thank you very much for being on the show. I still can't believe we're like 200 episodes in, and it's been a while coming. But I mean, we're here now, and then episode 200. I still just can't believe that, man.
I feel kind of bad coming on after Jody. She mentioned clean and professional, and then you bring me on afterwards. It's good to hear from her. I've not heard from her in a while, so I'm glad she's doing well.
Yeah, I'm also happy to hear her as well. It's really good to see that she's still around when it comes to that. And honestly, you're pretty much somewhat professional when it comes to that, and somewhat clean, maybe in a more like a Scottish context. But I mean, still regarding to that in this case. So,
and Mark also mentioned consistency is key, and I'm not very consistent these days, so I'm not doing well.
Well, I think that I'm on the same boat as that, because again, I've mainly been like working and such when it comes to that. But I think we do try our damnedest when it comes to whether it's making videos or live streams in this case. Right now, before you continue on, No Chance, I'm going to bring on my other guest this evening. This guest is again same with Jody K. This is the first time they've appeared on the stream. They've not appeared on Mood of the Nation at all. I think even for No Chance that this might be the same thing. But anyway, this gentleman, I was actually on their stream one time. I think it wasn't last year. I think it was maybe the year before, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember having like a quality time talking to this gentleman, and we've spoken to each other here and there, but again, because there's when it comes to the other events like the PA conferences and all of that, there's so many people to chat. But it's good to see them in person and have a few chats here and there with regards to that. But anyway, I will bring them on just now, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time on the Mood of the Nation podcast, I would like to have again a big round of applause and a big 14 to the Ayatollah of rock and roller. It's the Ayatollah. Hello, Tola. How you doing? Thank you very much for coming on the Mood of the Nation.
How are we doing, boys? You all right? Yeah, that's quite the intro. That I'm honoured, mate. It was I just put it in the private chat. It's funny you say 14 because you were on. It was Friday, October the 14th, 2022. You were on my channel, so well remembered. It was pretty much year before last. Yeah, but blimey, you're taking this seriously, aren't you? You got 3-piece suit on the lot, not to mention the wallpaper. Blimey, I'm sat here, mate, with the camera not on, which is for the best, believe me, in a pair of tatty old Slazenger shorts and a black, faded beyond recognition Bobby Bacala t-shirt with the print of Bobby Bacala from The Sopranos on it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There we are.
Here we are.
I put a suit on 3-piece as well. So.
Suit on. Probably got like an old firm tracksuit on, mate.
Tracky.
I was tempted to come on and just break in at 500 miles I'm going to be, but, you know, hey.
We actually could have done that, yeah. I'm just going to say we could do that, considering, now there's 2 Scotsmen on the show regarding to that. Well,
and
actually, and an English speaker too, so yeah, it's not going to be like totally awkward.
You can translate.
We can translate. Yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to ask yourself, Clive, because I've already spoke to Mark about this when he was on earlier on. Considering what's happened, and also Tola, if you want, you can also give your opinion on this as well. Considering what happened to Hamza Yusuf, not only was I absolutely just surprised at that news, but I was just like over the moon, because I remember I was at work at the time and I was on my first break. And when I was on my first break, of course, I was looking through my phone and see what was going on. I was on X or Twitter, and I saw your post about Hamza resigning, and I thought, right, this has to be the best day ever, or this is like an absolute cruel prank. But sure enough, everybody was talking about it. Everyone was like over the moon. Like, Hamza Yusuf is gone. He's no longer First Minister of Scotland. And sure, I was in that camp too. I was just like over the moon to the point where I was just like in like the best moods possible. I mean, despite the fact I have to work with foreigners all day, but you know what? That I can just like push away through that and just be like, you know what? As long as Hamza Yusuf is no longer the First Minister of Scotland, that's all I was caring about. But then later on that day, and I actually can't remember who said it because I did share this on my Telegram page about this, and I can't remember who said it, but I believe it was someone who said, "Well, look, we can celebrate this now, but who's going to be the next First Minister of Scotland? Because it has to be someone from the SNP." And then my heart kind of sank. I was like, "Oh, damn it!" Because I mean, if you thought Hamza Yusuf was bad, then well, yeah, who's going to be the next First Minister of Scotland? And I believe the person who has been picked at this point in time, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's already posted something about how it's so shameful and wrong that like someone has put up stickers saying it's okay to be white. Oh, we cannot tolerate this in a modern Scotland and all of that. It's like he hasn't been like First Minister of Scotland like that long, and already he's completely cucking. Which, I mean, it's not really that much of a surprise considering that all the politicians really are complete anti-white, douchebags essentially. But I mean, I guess I can turn it over to you guys. I mean, when you heard the news, what were your initial reactions with what happened to Hamza Yusuf?
The new guy, he's John Swinney. He's been First Minister before. But I kind of initially I thought, brilliant. That's another one down. I think Tola, he's got the autism. He'll remind me there was a guy previously in one of the other nations that I think it was Ireland. What was his name again? He was dethroned. So it was one down, and Hamza.
Bradka.
Sadiq Khan. Aye, that's the one. Aye, Sadiq Khan.
They all look alike, mate. This is the problem. You're doing a bit of a Ragnar Ironspear there, but what do you call that fella? He's a Taoiseach in Ireland, but he's gay. He's a homosexual. He lives in a house with no windows. Yeah. Anyway, fella.
That's a good impression.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Sorry.
Aye, but my initial response was kind of, aye, good. I'm glad he's away, but kind of sitting on it and then seeing kind of the framing from the media. Even like recently today, there was an article out about his experience with racism, and he's worried that it's going to impact other minorities standing for positions of all that stuff. It's all the victim card, but I kind of seen Hamza. He knew a vote of no confidence was coming. He was extremely unpopular with the public. The membership for the SNP has been going down consistently to the point where they lied about membership numbers. It was one of the scandals. And I think if you look at the members now, it'll probably be even further down the line. And I see his response to the CAS report, the Scotland's NHS rolling back gender HRT, hormone replacement therapy for under 18s, and then him getting rid of the Greens, getting rid of the coalition with them. I kind of see that as him jumping on the grenade to try and save the party, because I think he knew he was inevitably going to get shot. Basically, it was either voting no confidence was coming, or they were going to push for a general. I think a general election is still coming down the line, because given the SNP's rhetoric over the years, when Rishi Sunak was installed, they were saying you can't call that democracy if another one's been installed and no one gets a vote in it. So I think that's coming down the line. But I see Hamza jumped on the grenades and then made way for Swinney, and he started talking about taking the SNP in a different direction where it's more focused on Scottish issues and independence. And then he installed Kate Forbes as the just what do you call that, the second in command, essentially. And that obviously rubbed the Greens up the wrong way because our stance on gay marriage and our religion. So I see this as them trying to save their arse, but I think they're too far down the line that Labour, Alba, and SNP are going to be the. It's probably going to be a Labour win, and they'll probably do a coalition with Alba, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's interesting. You brought up this. Sorry, what was her name? Is it Katie Forbes? The
Kate
woman,
Forbes,
Katie Forbes. Yeah, I don't know if it was yourself, Clive, or if it was a DJ or Scott's Armor, for that matter, but this idea that the Scottish Greens are they do not like Katie Forbes because of her religious beliefs and all of that, and her stances on LGBT stuff and all of that. But was it true in saying that she put her name to like a bill or like a petition that was more supporting some abortion bill or something to that effect?
So what it was is they're trying to create like an exclusion zone where people aren't allowed to protest or even silently pray outside clinics. So she voted for that, but she wants there to be an exclusion zone. And you're like, if you're really a Christian with strong beliefs, you wouldn't make it criminal for people to silently pray for the lives of the unborn. That's just, you wouldn't do that. Maybe having I don't know, I don't think it's controversial, but not been a fan of gay marriage. I think Hamza, he missed the vote on gay marriage. He claimed he had other things to do that day, but then it came out that he was at it. Clearly, it was faith related, and he didn't want to look like a traitor to his kind of Muslim brothers. But
yeah,
I just see that as, yeah, she might have some religious beliefs, but she's not like some hard right, like Christian nationalist that the Greens like to paint her.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that and I'm thinking, because there's so many people that do like Katie Forbes and say, like, oh, she's so based and red pilling and all of that. But after when I saw that, I just remember thinking, that's really like, if yeah, as you said, no chance. If someone had like strong beliefs and strong moral principles, why would they sign something like that? It just does not make them look any good or anything like that whatsoever. But yeah, Tola, again, I know you yourself, Tola, are an Englishman when it comes to this subject matter, and I'm sure you've heard of the news as well. What were your initial reactions when this whole thing happened?
There are, there are many people that literally still think I'm Lebanese because of the April Fool's prank from 2021. But yeah, in fact, one of your compatriots who kind of disappeared off the scene for a bit and reappeared recently, he actually thought I was. He actually believed that to be the case. He didn't realise it was a prank. Regarding all of that, I've got to be honest, I didn't follow the specifics of it, but I mean, when you go back to, Yusuf basically replaced Nicola Sturgeon because of a load of stuff about corruption with her and her husband, didn't she? So, like, people involved with the SNP for a long time have kind of been, just like looking a bit rum. I mean, what's the thing with, was it Hamza Yusuf's brother-in-law or something like that?
He apparently chucked someone out a window and he's in drug charges and stuff. So I think that guy died
Drug
in
charges.
hospital.
Oh, Pakistani, imagine that. Okay, yeah, right, there we are. Enjoy that one,
was it
algorithm.
Ramsey
Not
El
algorithm.
Nakla, I think his name is.
It's what, sorry?
Ramsey El Nakla, if I remember right. I'm sure it's Ramsey, but his
Ramsey.
second name's definitely El Nakla. But talking about the corruption, I think that my theory is, obviously no proof of this, but I think the reason Hamza consistently failed upwards, like there's constant scandals, he failed every position. I reckon he's probably in on the corruption, or he's very aware of it, and he had a lot of kind of blackmailing power to get to where he is. Because anyone else would get shown the door.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, to be quite honest, I don't really follow the day-to-day events of politics anyway, because without, I mean, this might be a cope for laziness, but I think if I felt much of it was that interesting or that relevant, then I would. Sometimes it is, but it's more just that what exactly changes through it. However, in the case of the SNP, in the case of like someone who is clearly exactly what they want to be, kind of in the position of nominal power in our countries, which is to say a foreigner, for someone like that to be forced to step aside, that is, quite interesting. I will concede, because it's ultimately, it's exactly what they want. It's a great flex on the part of this regime that you've got like a Pakistani mayor of London, you've got an Indian prime minister of the United Kingdom, you've got a Welsh, you've got half the Zambian first minister or something like that. I can't remember. You've got, I mean, obviously in Ireland they had Leo Varadkar, and then obviously in Scotland you had a Pakistani first minister. Not to mention, was Anas Sarwar's not the leader of Scottish Labour, is he? Have I got that wrong?
Say again, sorry?
Am I there? You hear me? Anas Sarwar's not the leader of Scottish Labour, is he?
He is,
Oh, he is, yeah. 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, right. The man with no eyebrows. Yeah, I don't know. Like, on what basis was he going to get what basis was he going to get a vote of no confidence? But I mean, also he's, you know, he's probably done some of what they would have wanted him to do in passing the laws he passed. You know, they're not going to get overturned. You know, so
well, they had kind of cross-party support. The hate crime bill, cross-party support. The Tories, there was some that was saying maybe roll this back, maybe don't do that as extreme. But a lot of the things are just reworded, and they can still get you because it's so subjective. Like even the other dwelling clause, which was about you saying things in your home could be criminal, and they've kind of just reworded that. Well, even if someone can still overhear you, they can report you to the police, and the police have power to not just search your house and take all your electronics. They have the right to search anyone present when the hate occurred. Come on. And the Tories went, okay.
I'm so grateful for our democracy.
I know.
It's
democracy
crazy.
in action.
Yeah. What was it? Like, what was it they were? Because again, I mean, not the best person to have to talk about this, but what was it they went after him for? Like, what is it that he's actually? Because you just saying he just failed in every position he's been in. What, he's just generally been incompetent.
I don't know. He was transport minister, and then as he was transport minister, he was caught. Was it like driving without a license or something? It was like something ridiculous. It was some transport crime. He was also justice secretary, and there was just, he's had constant scandal following any position he was in. I'm trying to remember I had them all written down at one point, but I'll need to find it. But he's any position he's been in, he's made a complete arse of it. And then even with that hate crime bill, which was his baby, he was the highest reported person that week for hate crimes.
I reported him. Reported him on Star Wars as well.
He was. I think he received more hate reports that week than the entire the year before, like the annual figures for the previous year. So it's just complete different.
And of course, they then came back and said, "Well, it can't be applied retroactively," didn't they? Or is that the term I'm looking for? Retrospectively or whatever. Yeah.
They can't go back in the time machine. But either way, he's probably going to trip up at some point. I think even I don't know if you heard the thing he done with the nursery, where his kid didn't get in a nursery, wanted him to get in, and he decided, right, well, my friend as a white child get into that nursery, therefore the decision was racism. And then he started trying to sue the nursery. And then as they were going through that, they found out that the owners of the nursery were Indian. And then they silently dropped the lawsuit. And you're like, come on, this guy's just the race baiter in chief. He's just like constantly looking for a way that he's the victim, and that's the reason why people criticise him. It's not he's an incompetent boob that has an ego problem.
So that's reminding me of something that I was talking to somebody not long ago. He develops, like, he comes up with concepts for like phone apps and stuff, and he's currently sort of working on a dating app targeted, like a lesbian dating app, but targeted the Indian market. It's called Connect the Dots.
Oh, come on. That's like that. Why does Pakistan not have a football team or something? Do you remember that old one?
No, I don't know. Go on.
Anytime they get a corner, they open the
won't
shop.
get you in jail. They do what? Sorry.
That old joke. Why does Pakistan not have a football team? Because anytime they get a corner, they open a shop.
Oh right, yeah.
You not heard that
one? No, I probably have actually. Yeah, I probably have. I did hear a joke. Why did the Romans build straight roads so Pakistanis couldn't build corner shops?
I've
That
heard
was
that's
weird.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not gonna get the police knocking on my door after these types of jokes, but even though I'm not the one that said it, but anyways, it's funny nonetheless regarding to that. But I was just gonna quickly touch upon Hamza in terms of what was brought up there. Yeah, because there was a lot of people that criticized Hamza because I'm sure I've said this on my show before, but Hamza Yusuf as a politician is somebody who will change his ethnicity when it becomes politically convenient. So one day he's a full-blooded Scotsman, which we know that's entirely bullshit. But he believes that he's Scottish. He was born and bred here, and all this and that. He knows everything about Scottish history and Scottish culture and all of that. I've mentioned or even referenced this before, but there's that clip of him in Glasgow where he's like, "Glasgow, let's hear you." You hear some guy being like, "All right," like because you can tell it's someone just like desperately wants to come off as Scottish, but they just can't, and they know that they themselves just can't do it. But whenever even all that being said, right, whenever there's a point where something doesn't go his way or his favor or anything like that at all, he will instantly change his ethnicity to, "Oh, I'm actually a Pakistani," and of course he talks about wanting to support Pakistani and bring more Pakistani foreigners into the country, helps and support them and all of that. In fact, there was one thing I just thought of just now. And I don't know, Clive, if it was, or no chance, if it was yourself or if it was DJ again, or if it was Scott's Armor that shared this. But I think I think it was maybe a Scottish general election that was going on at the time, or something to that effect. And there was someone who, not necessarily like a comedian, but he was like some kind of social media personality who was like taking the piss out of the Germans, and basically the joke he was trying to make towards Hamza is that he's like the real fascist and all of that. He had some kind of like a fake swastika thing that was made up for his as a political party or whatever it was. I can't remember the guy's name, but I remember I think this was when like COVID or that pandemic event that was going on at the time, and Hamza was being incredibly defensive and talking about like, "Oh, is it because like I'm Pakistani or something like that?" I'm sure there was something like that happened, but I can't quite remember exactly.
It was a guy called Deke Jackson. He goes by.
Yes.
He wore an armband with a love heart on it, as if it's the Nazi armband, and he was going up like he was basically criticising Hamza for his hate speech bill. So he's approached him at the count, and he's putting up the salute with a love heart on his hand, talking about love speech and is this a hate? He was just basically like giving him a hard time, and Hamza went in true Hamza fashion, went straight to, "I feel like I'm being victimised because I'm brown." And then all the news articles was "man dressed as Nazi salutes," and it was just a hit piece against this guy. It was trying to make a point that hate is an emotion, just like love, and you can't police emotions. And it was just making a statement. You know what I mean? Which you should be able to do with these people that are bringing in laws that are meant to oppress their citizens. And that was one of the failures.
Sorry.
No, I was
No,
just
go on,
going to
sorry,
mention
mate.
that was one of the failures as Justice Secretary. He was Justice Secretary, try and get it out, and he brought that controversial hate crime law in that was completely unpopular. It wasn't he didn't have a license, he had no insurance. That was the one when he was Transport Minister. He was Health Secretary, and the waiting times went up with the NHS in Scotland. They were basically in crisis during his time serving. They probably still are now due to COVID, but anything has been up. Anything's been involved in, he's failed upwards. But that guy was Deke Jackson. He's a interesting character.
Yeah, because
yeah. Sorry, no, I just want to say quickly. I mean, you're saying about police and emotions. Yeah, they've only got to do that because they know they're imposing things upon people that people do not like, and it's entirely natural for them to dislike. You know, I made this point. I always say this. Forgive me. When Dominic Kennedy contacted me and said, "Oh, you know, do you think you're breaking the law with what you're saying?" It's like, no, not as far as I know, I'm not. However, it's apt to consider why, what kind of regime needs to impose laws against what people say. Why is this only coming in Ireland now, in the way that we've had it in Britain for so long? It's because they're catching up to us in terms of like imposition onto people of things they don't like being flooded with foreigners and all the consequences of that. Preaching to the choir here. I don't need to go into that, but yeah, that's all it is. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're right. That's kind of Jared Taylor always makes that kind of point about diversity and like assimilation. Or like if it was natural and everyone was going to embrace it with open arms, why didn't they spend so much money and so much time trying to enforce it? And then he didn't. Well, America don't have the same laws that we do, but we're getting the same. We're getting the investment from the government to try and make this insane project a reality, which isn't working. So then they implement the hate laws to counter the opposition. It's a bad state of affairs. Hopefully, it will not last forever.
Indeed. Yep. Oh, sorry, Trolla. Were you going to say something, Trolla?
No, it was just to make that point that I made before, which is like, okay, we'll impose a load of things upon you that you're naturally not going to like and be opposed to, and then we will criminalize any expression of opposition to it, because what they need to do is kind of, I think most people don't realize how there's a real sophistication and a real kind of, there's something so Machiavellian and just, I don't even know if Machiavellian's a word. I mean, it's evil what they do, because most people don't realize the degree to which they self-censor even their own thoughts, let alone their own words. Now, we talk about the laws, the laws prohibiting you saying certain things. They are there to deal with two types of people: us and irate boomers that go off on Facebook that they've never cared about political correctness. Loads of other people, it's like, they'll all have done this at different times in their lives, in a public place, look over your shoulder, look, not racist or anything, but I went there for the first time in about 10 years the other day, and it was like spot the white man. People are terrified to say that kind of thing. And that kind of thing they inculcate does most of the work. So they then have to have harder measures against people that don't just abide by the degree to which they self-censor. I told a story last week on a stream I did with Shane, aka Bleeding Holograms and Homotalk, about getting into an exchange of views with a bloke on Instagram. And I asked the question I always ask people: if anyone listening listens to me and you've got this on your bingo card, a reference to Toller's question, which is name one thing non-whites can do that we cannot do ourselves and that we cannot survive or thrive without. I asked this to some guy who was calling someone a gammon on Facebook. Or no, he said like, he was commenting under some picture of like somebody they'd called gammon. He said, "Oh, we're not all gammons in Britain." I was like, "No, some of us are sniveling little wankers like you." And anyway, the exchange went on. And I asked the question of him, and he said, "Oh, I'm not going to get into what would obviously be a highly inappropriate discussion." It's like, what do you mean highly inappropriate? What, you're afraid to have it? What, because it's highly inappropriate? Highly inappropriate in the eyes of who? Ingsoc. It's absolutely astonishing the degree to which most people are. And he won't have kind of. He really should have been, because it's there in plain sight when you say, "Oh, that would be a really inappropriate conversation." They're not sort of cognizant of the degree to which they are mentally shackled. And again, for the people that doesn't work on, they've got to have, we'll put you in jail. How many political prisoners have we got? We've got, I had a letter back from Sam Mealy the other day. You've got Sam Mealy, you've got James Costello, you've got Chris Kearney, you've got James Allchurch, you've got Ash Sharp. Generally speaking, whatever they got them on, it was because they stuck their heads above the parapet. They were unapologetically non-compliant white men, and that's what they go after you for. Because I always, one quote I'll say very quickly. This, I wasn't going to go on this long, but this is the last thing I will say. And it is, I remember reading somebody's account once of Special Forces selection. Again, Toller's Army Autism. Check that off your bingo card if any regulars are listening. The guy writing the account was talking about being in the Brecon Beacons and being on some some test march, like tab type thing. And they got to the halfway point, and then the directing staff started handing out brews, started handing out tea and coffee and cake and flapjack. and people were looking at it, not knowing, is this some kind of test? And if I take one, I get thrown off. I get thrown off the selection intake. And one guy, he was like, I was that hungry, I just reached forward and had it. And one of them said to him, yeah, good man, Jones. It only takes one person to show a bit of backbone for people to start standing up. That's what they're afraid of. They're not afraid of you taking a flapjack in the Brecon Beacons. They're afraid of other people being like, yeah, I don't like being surrounded by foreigners either. I don't like the effect it has on my area. I don't like feeling disenfranchised and alienated in my own country either. So, that's what the laws are there to prevent, is to deal with the people that have got the bottle to stick their heads above the parapet.
Indeed. That's like 7 o'clock, or even just past 7 o'clock. There's one thing Albion Forever is asking Tola. I don't know what the reference is in this case, but they're asking, get Tola to do nativist bars. What's that?
Nativist bars. God Almighty, where do I begin? Nativist concern. Former brother in arms, and was brother in arms still. We were on the Absolute State of Britain podcast together, getting on 5 years ago. A nativist, by his own admission, spends a lot of time traveling Eastern Europe, basically wife hunting. And we used to joke about this. And I used to just joke on the Tasso podcast, saying things like, just imagine, I'm imagining him in the main square in Chisinau in Moldova, going up to a woman and just being like, excuse me, love, you look very nice today. I wondered if I could talk to you about the USS Liberty and trying to red pill these women. And we used to crack jokes about this with my audience on my channel. And then some mad bugger started writing parody rap lyrics in character as nativist. And then I joined in. And it's got to the stage now where the other night I did a 4-part epic called The Life of Ryan, where I wrote 128 bars about nativist. So examples of the kind of things you'd come up with, a short form example would be like and this is all kind of stuff from nativist life, but written as if he was a rapper. So, like, got smashed in Southampton and spent a night in the cells. Now I'm riding the tiger in this Zionist hell. Dropped out of uni to trade futures in the city, making stacks on bets because the economy's shitty. Call up LBC, say I'm Aussie from Kent. Get on air and start chatting about Simon and Trent. I say beware of the merchant because he always betrays you. Don't dementia, start back euthanasia. Stuff like that, basically. Those are nativist bars. So I hope you're happy now. I've been forever.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think if I remember hearing something about that on Telegram. I can't remember when exactly, but I was like, that's I was pretty based.
That's what I'm
folks,
wasting my time
it
with.
is. Yeah. I'm just gonna say just now, folks, that is 7 o'clock. Of course, I know that the PA Farm Club will be live at this moment in time, and I also said I was gonna do the show for about 2 hours. And I think we're just going to call the show to an end. So, gentlemen, no chance, Tola, thank you both very much for coming along on the show. I'm just going to have you guys out of the show, and then I'm going to address the audience a little bit, considering that it's going to be the last part of the show. Just before you guys leave, is there anything you would like to say before leaving tonight's episode?
Yeah, can I just get mine out of the way first and just say that the A10 Thunderbolt has the A10 Thunderbolt has a single 30mm Gatling cannon and 2 General Electric turbines. When it fires its gun and puts its engine to full, it will actually accelerate backwards. That is how powerful it is. Thank you and good night. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
No worries, Tola. Thank you very much. What about yourself? No chance.
No, not today. Just you were brave bringing on the 2 biggest gobshites with half an hour to go. So
why? Who else was
that's
on?
why we're overtime. Just me and you, mate. Well, just me and you. We'll need to get together again soon, Tola. Though I've missed your banter. But anyway,
no one ever. You're in rare company, mate. Yeah, but we will. Yeah.
Love you, bye.
No worries, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming along on the show. I hope to have you guys on to the show at some point in the near future regarding to that. So definitely. Anyways, take care. Just having a quick look at the chat just now. Ochiai-san, my comments have been getting kicked out. I have no idea what that's about. I've literally just been busy talking to Megasso and anything like that at all. And even Ochiai, I don't think any of your comments have been, or at least from my experience, have been any risque or anything like that at all. So I don't know what that's been about. Maybe that's like YouTube doing its own thing, I guess. I've no idea. But yeah. Folks, that's going to be the end of tonight's episode for episode 200. Like I said, it's been a long time coming, but we finally did it. It's been it's actually been a hell of a time for Mood of the Nation, and with episode 200, I'm sure we're going to get to episode 300 at some point in the near future. I'll probably try and do something for episode 250 when that happens. When will that be exactly? I don't know, but we'll definitely wait and see what happens with that. But before I go tonight, and I know that PA Film Club is live at the moment, but I just want to, again, quickly state for the record, again, just thank you all again for your continued support with Mood of the Nation. I mean, it's really, it really does say something that a show like this has been going on for a long time, and the fact that you guys keep coming back on a regular basis. I mean, that it's a bit, I know it may be a bit corny to say, especially when it comes to like live streaming, but it really does mean a lot to me anyway when it comes to that. And if and the fact that the show's been going on with the same regular folk, again, I must be doing something right when it comes to that. But anyways, I'm going to end the show now. I'm going to get out of the suit because I'm sweating my balls off. But I hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's episode. I'm going to end the show with this song just now. This song was actually brought forth to me by a colleague of mine in PA Scotland. But you may have seen him or have seen him in the chat on the show. GNU Highland is a really terrific guy, a very creative person. Now, on the last episode, I've talked about my favorite episode of all time is the Ramones. Well, I don't know how he managed to pull this off, but he managed to send a AI generated song with the Ramones singing the song about me, which I even just saying that it does come off like a narcissistic douchebag. But I mean, like, when I've listened to it, not only was I going to play this for the show, but I was definitely going to be talking about this as well, because I was pleasantly surprised to hear the song when I first heard it. So I am just going to get the song on just now, and we will end the show there. So again, everybody, I just hope it doesn't play the music just before it starts. Wait a minute, because there's loading. The media player is loading anyway, and then we'll just end the show. God fucking damn it. There we go. So yes, I did mention this as well during the show. Mood of the Nation episode 201 will be back on Thursday, the 16th of May. And that's going to be at 6 p.m. So that's going to be a regular occurrence, by the way. So Mood of the Nation will be live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with that on both Telegram and on Twitter. You can always follow me there for more updates regarding to that as well. And yeah, can we have an E for moderator English Rose, please? Yeah, I'll put an E in the chat. Why not? Let's see. Excellent stuff. So yeah, again, this is going to be Chief Moody signing out. Again, thank you all very much for your continued support. Even though I finished my drink, but again, cheers. Here's to another 100 episodes to coming down the road later on. Again, let's hope for episode 300. Thanks, Chief Moody, and all of the guests. Thank you very much for watching, and Sally, and everyone else who has watched tonight's episode. Again, can't thank you guys enough. So, I'm just going to go just now. I'm going to get out of the suit. Again, thank you all very much for watching. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Head on over to Odyssey and watch the PA Film Club review. And yeah, again, see you all in the next one. Take care and good night.
Moody, Chief Moody, PA Scotland's bird of prey. Moody, the antidote and formulate. PA, we love you. We love Chief Moody too. Scotland, PA. Every day is hog money. Oh, we miss you in Scotland. Miss you in Scotland. Miss you in Scotland. PA. Come on, Moody. Moody. We love you, baby. Moody. We love only you. Moody, Chief Moody, he is Scotland for the free. Moody, Andrew and family. Moody, we love you. Moody, we love you. Moody, we love you. Moody, we love you. 200 Chief Moody, 200 today. 200 Chief Moody.